Hi class, this is Professor Brennan. Today I'm going to talk to you about small group presentation skills. And I'm going to take you through a PowerPoint presentation while I talk about this. And we're going to go over a couple different types of presentations you can do. You know what one you'll be doing in class because you've been assigned that. But aside from that, let's talk about how do you get ready for it? What do you need to do? What do you need to think about? What is audience analysis? We're going to take a look at all of that. And if you've been in public speaking, you probably have an idea of what audience analysis is. If you haven't, we're going to explain it right now. Hang with me. Here we go. Okay. We're going to slideshow, play from the start. Here we are. Preparing, planning, and executing small group presentations. That's where we're at, what we're looking at. So in all presentations, the first thing you want to do is you want to think about who is your audience. Like, who is it you're talking to? Not just your topic, but who's there? What are they going to understand? What do you have in common with them? What's their age? Is it a diverse group of people, or is it people that are come from similar backgrounds that you have? It's not enough just to be all students. You want to think about what's the racial makeup of the class? What's the ethnic makeup of the class? What about socioeconomics? There's a lot of pieces to it when we're thinking about our audience. And why is that important? Why is audience important? Because one is, you have to think about your audience because there'll be certain references that you'll use when you do presentations that you're going to want your audience to understand. One of the things, obviously, you want to think of as a student is your age group, right? Is your class diverse, different ages, or is it pretty much all the same age, right? This is a college class. It depends on what college you go to. Will kind of depend upon generally who's in your class. Some colleges, it's around the same age group. If you go to a college like a city college or a junior college or a community college, there's likely to be a lot more diversity in age range, right? Okay. We talked about that, why or why not. What else? So the definition of audience analysis. It is a systematic approach to studying the unique character of who will receive your presentation in order to adapt to how a speech, in this case a presentation, will be delivered and presented. So how do you adapt what you want to discuss, what you want to talk about? How do you adapt that to who you're talking to? So there is this part right now you're thinking about, okay, what's my presentation and what research I need to do, all of that. But when you get to the presentation, before you get to the presentation, you think, who am I giving this presentation to? Think about who is in your class right now. Take a moment to think about that. How many men, how many women, how many people transgender or don't identify? How many people are black? How many people are white? How many people are Hispanic or brown-skinned? How many Asians do we have in class? How many Native Americans or Pacific Islanders or mixed race? Right? Why does that matter? Again, it goes to life experience of people. Remember, how we walk through the world. Like for me, I'm a white woman, right? I'm a white woman who lives a middle-class life, but I grew up in an upper middle-class life. What has that done for me? It has made me see the world a certain way. It's made me focus on certain things. It has brought awareness to me about things that maybe people didn't grow up the way I did, that I have, but it also brings me a lack of awareness. I'm going to give you an example. I grew up in a city, I guess it was a city, where all the people that I went to high school with, and pretty much there are 3 high schools in the area that I grew up in, everybody went to college. And not only did they go to college, they went to high-ranking colleges. They went to Ivy League schools, like schools on the East Coast or private schools. They went to UCs. State universities were actually like a step down. That's generally what people would shoot for. That was the kind of community that I grew up in. So I didn't go to a UC. I went to a state university. I had a choice between a private college and a state university, and I really wanted to move away from my family. I grew up in Southern California, and I wanted to live in Northern California. So those were my choices. I would have had a different lifestyle had I chosen the private college. And that's a whole other talk. But the point is, what I just kind of went off on a tangent a little bit, but to give you a little background on me, I thought everybody, I didn't think everybody went to college, but I thought everybody took the SAT. I thought all schools had SATs. I didn't even know it was an option. I had no idea that was an option. I'm going to sneeze. An option to take, excuse me, an option to take the PSAT or SAT. Probably the PSAT I knew was an option, but the SAT I had no idea. I didn't know that until I started working for Avid. Some of you may know Avid. You had Avid. We're an Avid student in high school or junior high, or maybe even elementary as well. So I didn't know that. So the point of this long thing that I just said, the point of it is this: people's life experiences give them a certain view, also precludes them from seeing certain things, none of which is anyone's fault. Okay, so it's nothing's good or bad. Too much in society we assign what's good, what's bad. Money's good, money's bad. It doesn't really, we're not going to go there, because those are just opinions, and we're just looking at the facts. So these experiences bring us a certain life experience, and then our job, hopefully as adults and being in education, getting educated, is that we will learn about other people. But keep that in mind. That's part of audience analysis. Think about, what do I know about it, and what maybe even precludes me as a person from knowing more things about my audience. All right. So you might want to do that. Think about who's in your audience. You might want to do that as a group to think about that. Okay, so the next part is we think about, where is it? Like, where are you having the presentation? In this case, you're having it in the classroom, but let's say you could be giving a presentation, if you're giving a panel presentation, let's say at a conference. It's always good to know, what does it look like? Not only for you, but to have a sense of, like, what's your place in there? Are you sitting? Are you facing people? Are you sitting in a circle? Right? Is everybody around a circle? Is that your presentation? In this case, in the class, usually in all small group presentations, I have students have their desks facing all the other desks in the classroom, and I line them up, right? So what is that room? Other things you want to think about the room and the occasion is, you want to think about, let's go back, sorry. You want to think about, what are the acoustics of the room? If you're in a big room, and chances are at a conference, you're not going to be responsible for the technology or making sure there's a mic there or anything like that. But if you were, you would want to think about that. What are the acoustics? In this case, you're in a classroom. So the classroom, the way it works, great acoustics, because your voice will bounce off the back of the wall. People will be able to hear you. But these are the kinds of things you think when occasion, like, what's the situation? What's your purpose? What are you there for? Right? What do you think about that right now in your presentation? Are you there to inform? Are you giving an informative presentation? Are you giving a persuasive presentation? Like, if your presentation is just to inform on a problem, or is that what you're doing? Are you just informing? So to inform means to give facts and to back up claims that you make, but to show facts. You're not actually, in informing, generally speaking, you're not trying to get us to believe anything. You're just giving us the information. Ideally in journalism, not in your lifetime, but in my lifetime, journalism was definitely thought of when I was like younger than you guys, definitely thought of as a investigative fact-finding mission, different than the way it is now. It's full of opinion and non-facts, and it's political, and it didn't always used to be that way. But that's informing. You're giving the facts, you're sharing the research, you're showing something, how something is a problem. Okay. Now, if you were just doing a presentation and you're focused on the solution, that would mean you're trying to persuade us. In a solution, you've established there's a problem and you're providing a solution. You've chosen a solution that you think is the best solution. That's a persuasive presentation. So it means you introduce basically what it is you think is why this solution is going to work better on this problem than other solutions. So it's persuasive. The language is there. How you present is different. And the word entertain means generally in all kind of public speaking events, we're either informing, presenting, or entertaining, or some combination of those. So I want you to think about what is your purpose and how you're going to attain that purpose in your particular assignment and what that looks like. All right. I'm going to stop here because I'm not really sure at the moment. I can't really see the time. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to come back and we're going to pick up at member strengths and fears. All right. I'll see you in a little bit.